Yo, welcome back. Welcome back. Episode 7, the Valley Podcast. 6-2, isn't that right, Coach Evan?
6-2, number one right now in the West, tied with the Lakers. So not a bad start to the first 8 games.
Man, we talked a lot about this game yesterday. So let's just get right into the highlights. What do you say?
Let's do it. Before you press play real quick, I want to give a shout out to Markelle Fultz. He suffered a season-ending ACL injury today for the Magic, and he looked like he was about
No.
to have a good season. So we need to give a shout out to Markelle Fultz. Hope you get healthy. Hope we see you on the court next year. That's tough for the Magic right now.
Other injury stuff. Did Jalen play? I know he was available.
Did
He
not
didn't
see
play in this
him.
game at all, did
Did
he?
not see Nader. They were both available for the game, which I think says more about what Romani's going than about the players themselves. So we'll just see how the bench continues to develop.
Nader's not getting any playing time.
No. But starting the game here, not a good start for the Suns. They just had that lackluster first quarter again. But looking back on the season in the first quarters, we've been right there in most of the games. I think most of it because, the starters come in or come off with 4 or 5 minutes left, and the bench just starts taking that lead down, from 6 or 8, and then they just break it down to where it's only a 2 or 1 point game at that point. What did you see in the first quarter?
It just felt like they were playing down to the competition. The Raptors aren't playing that well, and it seemed like the Suns were just kind of matching that energy, kind of seeing like, well, how hard do we have to play to beat these guys? Because we don't really feel like going all out yet.
Right. We saw that in the later quarters. They had no rhythm. Book decided to not play defense in their first quarter. As we saw in that clip right there, Siakam just started to eat. He was on a roll tonight, finished the night with 32, and it all started in the the first quarter. And Devin Booker only with, I think, 2 points in the first quarter. A shame. Man.
Yeah, he didn't have a lot of points in the first half, and definitely DeAndre didn't have a lot of points, but 11 rebounds in the first half. I don't want to complain.
No, I saw that, and we're going to talk about DeAndre Ayton more tonight. Me and campaign here have we've come to a little of an epiphany when it comes to DeAndre Ayton, and we'll tell you all about it. But once the bench started going in, things just started clicking. They had 13 points with over 3 minutes left, and then they just start hitting shots when that bench comes in. And I saw a quote after the game. Campaign said it's mostly because this is everybody they returned from the bubble on the bench, with the exception of Langston Galloway. So this is all players that they've played with. They had the success in the bubble. The bench is clearly showing it. And hot take here, the bench is outplaying their starters as of right now. Thoughts?
Yeah, that was one of the things I definitely wrote down. Unbelievable bench play. You could tell that the Raptors couldn't match. They couldn't keep it up. They didn't have the guns. They brought in that Boucher kid.
Right.
He looks about as skinny as Bull, but half the height. He hit a nice 3 or 2, but those guys couldn't compete. Saric. I want to talk about Dario Saric. He's playing like Bubble Dario.
Saric. You got to get that ch at the end there.
That's fine. That's debatable. And you're probably right. But I didn't think he was going to be so unrusty coming back. Right. He feels like he's completely in the groove. He was playing like a grown man. He had ultimate confidence in his shot. I'm loving what I'm seeing from Dario. He is outplaying my expectations. What do you think?
Super Dario is doing exactly what I expect him to do. I think he had 15 and 6 rebounds, something like that. I said at the beginning of the year, when he gets healthy and gets his legs, he's a walking 16 and 8. That's exactly what he averaged in the bubble, and that's exactly what we're seeing. Still only 20 minutes. I could see him playing 24 to 26 or 28 minutes a game if needed. So he's still kind of getting his legs under him. But what a glue guy, huh?
He's a glue guy in every sense of the word, man, because he's such a great passer. But when he's hitting his threes and he's getting those dirty rebounds.
Oh, he had a few.
Man, and his putbacks, they're on point, bro. He's got great touch around the rim, and he knows when to pass out for a three. He knows when to just reset the clock, get the ball back to a guard, and start. He doesn't make those mistakes.
No. And whenever he gets the ball, he's passing or doing something within that 0.5 seconds. DeAndre will hold it. You get Dario in the high post, he's going to pass or do something really quickly. The way the ball leaves his hands, it's just fluid. Boom, boom. He has a lot of one-handed passes too. He'll catch it with one hand and then just, do a push.
Yeah, real quick.
So
keeps the ball moving.
I'm loving that you brought up Dario Saric because I was going to do the same, and I think he's only going to get better as the season goes on. Once the bench came in the second quarter, man, the starters were on the bench for a while. The bench came in, gave us that lead. They were looking good, and then Mikal Bridges didn't have a good half. He had 2 quick fouls earlier in the first quarter. Fouls were early in favor of the Raptors, 11-7. They didn't shoot their first free throw until 2:34 left in the second quarter. The Suns didn't. That was part of the problems. DeAndre Ayton tried to guard Siakam. I saw Book try to do it. I saw Mikal and Crowder both do it to no avail. They had no answer for him tonight, except in the fourth quarter. It looked like they were trying to jack more threes than anything else. And Book only had first half points with 6 points, which is concerning. He ended up with 24 and did what we needed him to do, but only 6 points in the first half. Thoughts on Book?
I'm okay with it. It's like, it's just clear to me he's not playing his best basketball, but this is the time of year when it's okay that he's not playing his best basketball. We don't need his best basketball right now. But I like that he's still just ho-hum, scoring 24 points. Oh, yeah, I'm playing bad, but still up above that 22, 23-point threshold. I'm not sure. I can't remember what he's averaging right now.
He was averaging 21.5 before the game, and he got 24. So that might bump up a smidge, but not much.
Yeah, it's fine. He's not. This isn't the time of year that we need to be worried about his type of play. We know who Devin Booker is. We know what he's capable of when he's full speed. That's why I'm surprised that Dario is full speed, because I look at somebody like DA and Booker, who you think, oh yeah, these guys, they're going to be full speed, ready to go.
Right.
Dario is. Mikal has been. Campaign. Not so much the bigger names on our team. Chris Paul hasn't really been. He's just kind of, he's doing good things. I'm very happy. But he's not scoring a lot. He's not hitting a lot of threes. He's not.
He's not playing at an all-star level, I'd say.
No.
I think he's playing at an amazing level to what we need. And he's definitely doing better than Rubio, but he's not playing the all-star level. And I've got a hot take if you want me to give it now or if you want me to save it on Devin.
Please.
I got a hot take.
Okay.
I think a lot of this has to do with COVID, no off season. They can't really get in rhythm with each other quite yet, right? I think they're going to hit that rhythm. And in the last 30 games of the season, Devin Booker is going to average 30 or more a game for the last 30 games. That is my hot take for the night on Devin Booker.
I think that's fair. And I think 30 would be great, because you're looking at nights when he's just going to have this type of ho-hum. If this is his baseline, if this is his bad play, then yeah, I would say 30, maybe 31, 32 points a game, with some nice 40 burgers in there. Absolutely.
He only had 1 turnover tonight. Only 1.
Really?
Yes, he leads the league in turnovers, but he only had 1 tonight. His free throws were better last night or 2 nights ago against the Clippers, and he was better tonight. So take that for what you will. It's that little minimal improvement, right?
Yeah. Note on free throws. I know you coach. Do you play in any leagues? Do you ever have to shoot pressure free throws?
Oh, you guys, I haven't played in years.
Okay. I didn't know.
Ankles.
Okay, so I'm in a couple leagues here in Austin when COVID isn't going on. Personally, because I practice a lot, I shoot a lot. The only time I miss my free throws in games is when I'm not practicing them a lot in practice.
Sure, I agree.
That's the only time. It's like it's a specific shot. It's a very specific release. And it's very individual to you. And I think you might be right. Just less time being able to practice, I think that might be affecting his shooting a little bit because he's not been as perfect as he normally is.
Absolutely. But a win is a win, and we were good enough, and you have to play to your opponent. So I said yesterday on the podcast that you were like, we should be in control of this game, yada, yada, yada. And I said that as well, too. But I also did not want to get ahead of what the Raptors were going to do and can do, because they did come off of a championship not too long ago. And we saw a lot of that championship level experience and play from FVV, Lowry, and also from Siakam, right? So it's an experienced team. You know, take that for what you will. Siakam did go off, but Van Fleet only had 13 points.
I noticed that. Nice to keep Van Fleet from going off.
Yes.
With our guards that match up well with him, size and both of them being just defensive bulldogs, I guess we could have expected that. Remember, we were talking about who's going to guard Siakam. And right here, you can see Bridges get bullied. Yeah. He got bullied. It was not him. Here goes Crowder.
Here goes Crowder.
Here's Crowder's attempt.
Nothing.
No, not long enough.
We saw against DA earlier. It didn't happen either.
Yeah, that's who I was thinking I wanted to see guard him. And then the couple of times that you did get to see guard him, it's like, maybe he's just that hard to match up with.
Absolutely. So coming out of halftime and in the third quarter, I thought the Raptors started pretty strong. They got the first 6 points, but then Crowder remained hot. He kept doing his thing. Book finally got it going, and they went on a nice little run. We'll see it coming up in a second, where we were able to get off to a 67-60. So we got off a little 9-0 run here. Crowder was awesome tonight. 21 points. He was a glue guy for tonight. If it wasn't for his shooting, it could have been a lot worse for the Suns.
I would have liked to have seen him put up 15 total threes. It was that type of night. I think he could have hit. I think he could have hit 9 or 10 of them.
It was absolutely smooth. And then I think, are we going to see it here? No, we're not going to see it here. We're just going to see a Devin Booker pull up. Ho hum. We've seen that before.
Right. He's playing terrible.
Yeah.
Salty, he ended up Salty hates him.
24 points on 14 attempts. I mean, I want more out of him because I want a star player in Phoenix, right? But you can't be mad at that. Is this the play? Is this it? No, that's not. Yeah, that's it.
There it is. The dunk. It's possible. It's possible.
That's the first one I've seen from Chris Paul to DeAndre Ayton for an actual dunk.
Hell of a pass. Can we replay that? It is an incredible pocket pass.
It was right between two people. He had to reach through two people to get that. Oh, I don't know where it was. It might have been.
I might not have gone far back enough. It's fine. You get the idea. They showed it several times in the game.
Yes. And then hopefully we're going to see it coming up here soon again. Devin Booker had a transition 3 to close the quarter, which the Suns have done an amazing clock management job at the end of quarters. They are always consistently trying to hit that shot with 30 to 32 seconds left to try to go for a 2-for-1 consistently, which I haven't seen a lot of times. Every once in a while they would do it a game, but it has been very consistent under a minute. Their clock management has been astounding, and that's all things. Here it is right here. It's coming up right here. They're going to toss it in right here, and Book's going to hit it deep like he hit on Dort from OKC. Just boom, pull up 40-footer, no big deal.
Did you notice they did that at the end of the second quarter as well? And he hit. It just wasn't as deep. So you can tell Monty has made that a specific coaching point. Listen, guys, every time there's a chance for a 2-for-1, one of you better pull up at about 30 seconds or a little more. That's how we play. And I think he reminds them you just didn't get that from Earl Watson. No. You didn't get things like that from Kokotov. You didn't get it from Hornacek. It's just refreshing.
And that comes a lot with Chris Paul too, right? Chris Paul does a lot of that. And real quick, campaign, he tied his career high with 10 assists in 16 minutes.
I don't know if you remember him talking about how his focus this season is learning how to play exactly like Chris Paul so that when he comes in, the team doesn't have a drop off.
And we're not experiencing that. If anything, I'd say
we are not experiencing
accelerating even more.
Exactly. He is not Chris Paul, but he couldn't have a better mentor. And I don't think the ceiling could be any higher for Cam.
Yep, I agree. And here is DeAndre Ayton with a strong and one. He did have a solid game.
He did.
After the game, we're going to get into DeAndre Ayton hardcore a little bit more. But the problem I'm having with the Suns is they're not closing out games, my man. I mean, they did a great job against the Clippers, but then they just fell apart in the last 4 minutes. They weren't able to close out the Nuggets like they should have. They're not able to close out this game like we thought they should have. But to me, that has to do with the starters again. They're not starting games. They're not ending games well. And we really need to fix this issue.
Was there any point here at the end where you really thought we weren't going to close it out?
No. If it would have gone under 6, I would have. If they
Right.
would have gotten one more bucket, then I was worried.
And you remember how it was last year. There was a fear that they really will let it slip. I don't have that fear. I didn't have that fear. Like we all sit here and say, well, they didn't close it out. Like everyone's saying that on Twitter, and I felt that way. But they did win the game by 8 points. It wasn't what's that?
A win is a win.
And it wasn't a 2-point win. It wasn't we hung on and they got a last-second shot to try to win the game, and we got lucky that it just rimmed out. It wasn't one of those. We won by 8 points versus a team we should have. And they're a good team. They're a team full of talent that just isn't playing right. And they gave us their best shot because we're a big name. And that's how it's going to be now. We're going to get every team's best shot, whether or not they're playing good or not. They want to dethrone the number 1 team in the Western Conference,
my man,
the 6-2 Phoenix Suns,
my
formerly 8-0 in the bubble.
So we're 16-2 in the last 18 games. Is that what you're trying to say?
Absolutely, and it feels just about right. It feels just about damn time.
I completely agree.
Not since Nash have we ran off a streak like this and had a record like 16-2.
I'm trying.
Do you think were they doing that back then? Were they ever winning 16?
With Hornacek, we had some pretty good runs, but it was nothing like this. No, nothing like this. So it's been.
That's why Bledsoe didn't want to be here. Okay,
he was just in a salon. Come on, man.
He was just in a salon.
He didn't.
You guys should have known that.
That's exactly right.
You know, one of these days we need to go in and look at we need to look at whether or not there was any subtext to that tweet. Like, had he texted something like an hour before, like, God, I'm with this bitch at the salon and she won't stop switching from her nails to her toes.
Actually, you need to go on Ryan McDonough's Twitter account. He mentioned this. It was a couple months ago. I want to say while it was in the bubble or shortly after, something like that. But he quote tweeted it. No, it was when he got traded from Milwaukee. He quote tweeted it and said, "Oh, I guess you don't want to be there now," or something along those lines. It was great. Just totally referring to
who is Ryan McDonough to be taking shots at anyone.
Oh, absolutely. He has
unbelievable
a great Twitter account, though, man.
Does he?
It's great to follow. He is, and he calls people out when he absolutely should have, and it's entertaining for me. I feel sorry for the guy, but
you know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of Dan Orlovsky, who I feel like has some pretty good takes on ESPN.
I like him, actually.
I like him, and I like him, but he was a terrible quarterback. The only thing anyone remembers about him is running out of the back of the end zone and not knowing that he ran out of the back of the end zone.
I lived in Michigan during that time, during the Joey Harrington draft days. I had a drunk Lions fan come up to me and say, Joey Harrington is going to be the savior for the Lions and the whole franchise. And then they moved on to Dan Orlovsky, and people were saying, no, I think he's going to come up next year. He's going to average 300 to 350 a game. And it was a really pitiful time for Lions fans, I guess, like it always is. But we're not here. We're not a Lions podcast, are we?
No, but it's fine. We got all the time in the world here. So where do you want to go next with it, man? I mean,
we need to touch on DeAndre Ayton. After we recorded the podcast after the Clippers, we had a little come to Jesus moment, Gabe and I here when we started discussing about what we thought of DeAndre Ayton. We've talked about how he's not dunking, he's not a physical force. He should be the PEDs are a thing. He should be playing better than what he is. Yada yada yada. Right? We've been going on and on about DeAndre Ayton's problems. So maybe it's time we start looking at DeAndre Ayton with he's what we need, right? He's doing exactly what we need. So we need to look at him with a different viewing lens. We need to look at him as a defensive stopper, which he's turning into. Nobody has a better vertical than him in the league. Nobody. The way he just goes straight up and doesn't foul now after the first 2 games has been incredible. He's starting to get the rebounds that we need. If he's not going to be a scorer, I want him getting 12 to 15 rebounds. And I've mentioned it multiple times. His way of getting into the paint, into the right area for the rebound is exactly what this team needs and what we didn't have with the likes of Amari Stoudemire. And I love that, but he's not going to be the dominant force on offense.
You know what that upsets me is just it reminds me of Roy Hibbert. And he doesn't remind me of Roy Hibbert, but what you just described is Roy Hibbert.
And I don't through a different lens.
Yeah, that's the lens I feel like we're looking at him through, or like a Rudy Gobert.
No, I don't want to go there. No. I'm not going there. Like, we're not seeing the dominant, powerful moves that we saw, right? We talk about him laying it in all the time, but he's making them. I don't care if he's not throwing it down. Like, I really want him to do that, and I want to be able to get those dunks and get the fans all hyped up and crazy, right? Like, I want that. But he's laying it in. He's getting the 2 points. He's becoming a finesse player, and he worries about defense. He even said that before the Clippers game. I'm focused on defense and nothing else. So we need to look at him like that and a finesse player. And if that's what you're going to be, that's what you're going to be, dog. But you got to improve that mid-range game. Keep improving your defense. Get those rebounds. I don't need the thunderous dunks if that's what you're going to do. So I urge Suns fans to not look at DeAndre Ayton anymore as this powerful center that's going to come in, throw it down your throats, and be this dominant player. Look at him through a finesse type of lens and look at his rebounding positioning and what he does on the boards and on defense when he's on help defense. That's what we need right now. It's not who we wanted, but it is what we need. So I went on a rant there, DeAndre Ayton, and we've been teasing this for a while. So tell me your thoughts.
I'm hoping he's more like we talked about Tim Duncan and David Robinson.
You made that comp. Thank you.
And less Roy Hibbert and Rudy Gobert. Because we took him over Luka. And Trey. And we could have had De'Aaron Fox over. It goes on and on. So there's so much disappointment built up. So it's not just this one time when we had the first pick. It's all these times when we had picks that have failed. And this time we got the first pick and we failed. And so if he turns out to be Tim Duncan, we didn't fail.
Now, real quick, we're not saying that he's going to be Tim Duncan. He's going to be potentially the best power forward ever. We're saying his game mimics that of more a finesse player and less of a Blake Griffin, Amari Stoudemire. Right.
So maybe he's out of position. Maybe he should be a power forward.
With this body, I mean, I don't think that's out of the realm. I honestly don't think we play that type of basketball where we have to have a true center or a true power forward. You see it with our wings. We have backcourt guards, we have wings, and we have front court players, right? And Dario and DeAndre Ayton are the front court players. So I don't think position necessarily matters with this system too much.
I think if we were to consider him a 4, if he were to switch to the 4, like say we signed, well, I guess Aaron Baines isn't a good example, especially
Marcus Aldridge.
but wouldn't Aldridge just want to play the 4?
Right.
You know, he would. I think maybe we look at him like a LaMarcus Aldridge. Now, that's a different way of looking at him. I have not been thinking of him in the mold of LaMarcus Aldridge. I've been thinking of him in the mold of Shaq. And that's apparently dead wrong.
And unfortunately, we need to temper all of those expectations, which is a damn shame. I'm not coming out and saying DeAndre Ayton's going to do all this and that, with a new lens we're looking at him through. No, it's a damn shame that you're not going to be like Shaq, bro. We saw what you did in college. We knew what you were supposed to be. It's a damn shame. But there's no reason you can't be just as effective like LaMarcus Aldridge. LaMarcus Aldridge shoots that mid-range shot with consistently like a Karl Malone. Amari doing that.
When Aldridge was on his game, he was deadly. It was unstoppable from like the same range that Ayton shoots from, that 17-foot range.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's just the eye test isn't matching up, but I can deal with that. I can move on and start to think of him as a soft mid-range big man that gets rebounds and plays good defense.
Yeah,
I suppose.
What's wrong with averaging?
But I wouldn't have taken that over Luka. If I would have known that that's what it was, I wouldn't have been somebody who said, "Yeah, we got to take Ayton."
You can't
and
say
that's
that,
what I
though,
was
because
saying.
You would say that about every single draft pick you've ever made ever. That's tough to say that. I see where you're going, but it's not the world we live in. And obviously, I would have rather have had Trae Young over Luka, the way Luka baits all his fouls and whatnot. But that's a different podcast.
But so you and I haven't really gotten into this very much, but Salty and I have. So my question with that is, would we really have wanted Luka to come in and take over the team? Because his style of play is Luka Doncic is doing everything. Just like Harden, he comes in and dominates the ball. Would that have meshed with Booker? Would that have not rubbed Booker the wrong way and made Book say, you know what, this doesn't even feel like my team anymore?
I am going to get blasted on Twitter for saying this. At Coach Evan B, blast me away.
Blast him, people.
Blast me away. Phoenix wants, needs, and is bleeding for a star. Not like a Kyler Murray or anything like that, like a Randy Johnson, a Steve Nash, and Amari Stoudemire. It's been so long since we had hands down the best player at a position or in the league or whatever it is, right? People look at Book and they make all these comps to Kobe. The footwork is there. The mid-range is there. Absolutely. The dunking explosiveness, defense is not there to a Kobe level at all. But Devin Booker is not a Tracy McGrady. Devin Booker is not a Kobe. I think Devin
You're
Booker,
right at this point.
At this point, again, we haven't seen him in the playoffs. Devin Booker is not a Ray Allen. Devin Booker is not a Reggie Miller. Devin Booker can get there. I don't know if he has it in him right now to become a T-Mac, a Kobe, an absolute killer at the end of a game where you just know it's going to go in. I don't know if it's quite there yet for him. And these first 8 games have shown a lot for that. But I want to be wrong, and I think he's going to blow up 30 points a game at the end of the season. But he's just not that right now.
2 things that we talked about yesterday. Number 1, he's a baby. We showed the picture of him being a baby.
Right.
He's 2 years younger, or at least a year younger, than both Mikal and Cam Johnson. Okay?
No, I think we got that screwed up, actually. I think his birthday was... He's a couple months younger than them. They're all They're all 24. He's a couple months younger than them.
So he's the same age as a couple of guys we've only had for 2 years. So you think of like how much growth do you give Mikal as far as you feel like Mikal, not that he's going to reach some high ridiculous place, but he could because he has the time. Wouldn't you imagine that Booker still has time to get better? Now, the other thing we talked about is the expectations for the ceiling for Booker was Klay Thompson. I think his true ceiling is Kobe Bryant, just like Kobe Bryant's true ceiling was Michael Jordan.
I want him. I want him. Don't get it twisted. I want him to get there. I'm just not seeing the efficiency right now, especially leading the league in turnovers to him getting there, but he absolutely can.
You know what he's doing in turnovers, I feel like Kobe did in egregious shot taking. You know, shoot the ball 30, 35 times a game sometimes and hitting 20 of them and being like, "Look at me, I got 45 tonight." It's like, "Yeah, you shot the ball 35 times and everyone worshiped you." So, at least Booker doesn't do that. You know, he's pretty efficient on the amount of shots that he takes. Where he is having the problem is turnovers. Bro, he's not the greatest ball handler right now. Might have lost Evan. Are you still there? That's all right, man. I'll keep it going. I'm going to look up the standings here, so we can take a look at how your Suns are number one. Because this is a site that is often unseen. Can't remember the last time I've seen this, even this short into a season. So, Suns 6-2, Lakers 6-2, Clippers. I don't know if they lost tonight or if it was last night. Warriors don't look as bad as I thought that they were going to look. We all had them dead in the water, but as of right now, they're the 6th seed, and Steph is just playing so good. He might actually be able to will them into the playoffs. Now, they did lose tonight to the Clippers. That sucks. I was really hoping they could give the Clippers another L to kind of even them out a little bit more, drop them further past us. But it looks like they've got another crack at the Clippers on Friday.
Sorry, buddy. I've been listening to everything you're saying.
You're good. You're good.
I've got a little toddler that's just not too happy when we're in quarantine over here. But no, Steph Curry's playing out of his mind right now, man. He's doing awesome.
I wonder if he's going to be able to will them into the playoffs, man.
I think they're going to battle for the 8th seed. If injuries, don't bite anybody. I mean, there's no reason they can't battle for that, and they might not make it, but I think they can battle for it.
So they just beat the Trailblazers when he went off for 50-something, 52.
Yeah, they won 2 in a row before the loss to the Clippers.
Or sorry, was it 62?
62.
62 against the Trailblazers. I'm sure they're not worried about the Trailblazers in a 7-game series. Spurs, they might be a tough out for them. I think they could beat the Mavericks if they with their kid. You pointed it out yesterday, that Wiseman. With Wiseman playing the way he is,
he's only going to get better.
It's a damn shame. Who would you rather have, Ayton or Wiseman?
Wiseman.
Ew, that hurts to hear.
Wiseman, you've seen his jams. He actually goes hard and rolls the way you want him to. He's bigger than him. He can run the floor. He doesn't have a shot like Ayton does, but no, I'd take Wiseman all day long. I love that kid's game.
Who would you rather have, Clint Capella or Ayton?
Ayton.
Really?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Ayton's got room to grow.
Right. I mean, how far does that shot take you? I mean, we've talked about how shooting is such a big part of a player's growth. If they can already shoot, the sky's the limit for them, because that's one of the things is the toughest to teach. You can teach it, and you can learn to be a much better shooter. But I argue players don't want to learn. They want to do what they've always done, what feels comfortable. They don't want to go out of their way to learn a different way to shoot.
That comes down to coaching right there, my man.
Yes. And I don't know if you can coach Weissman into having a jumper, but with Ayton, you can coach him. Maybe you can feed him some PEDs to get him to play a little bit more like Weissman. I don't know.
Right.
But he was playing like that. He was rolling to the rack. He was finishing.
Exactly.
He was taking
PEDs.
pride. I think
it's a damn shame.
I think it comes down to personal pride when it comes to going to the rim hard. It's like kind of a look at me moment. Like where has that gone for him?
It's completely gone. But again, he's still finishing.
If he's going to stand there and hit mid-range jumpers in people's faces, though, I'll take it. Just do that on a consistent basis. I want Ayton shooting the ball 15 times a game minimum. Consistent. No less. Like a running back. Like feeding your running back and getting him going. They've got to start doing that. That's another thing I had written down about this game. No entry passes. He's got Alex Len on him for like 3/4 of the game. I want to see him go to work against Alex Len. And they never give him the ball. You're a coach.
You're completely right. It's a mindset. It's a mindset thing. It 100% is at this point. They were forcing it in the first couple of games. They've stopped forcing it completely. That's not there anymore. They had their lowest amount of turnovers in a while. He's not posting up. He's not getting the position like he does. And when he does, he turns it over like something stupid today in the fourth quarter where he just kicked it off of his knees. It was a damn shame. But I've got to jump off, unfortunately. You can probably hear it in the background. Yeah, there it is. No problem, but real quick, I want to look at the next 3 games. We are going on our very first East Coast road trip. I'm really excited about this. We get to play the Pistons, where I lived in Michigan for years and had to hear all about Ben Wallace and the Bad Boys and all of them. Always a little personal vengeance game for me. So we're playing Detroit on Friday. They have 1 win. That should be a dub. Then we go back-to-back against Indiana. I'm curious to see what the rotations will be. Will we sit Chris Paul finally? Is Dario going to sit out too? If so, that could potentially be a really tough matchup, especially with Miles Turner and the Pacers. So keep an eye on that one on Saturday. And then Monday at Washington, which they beat us last year, but then we beat them in the bubble without Beal. Now they got Beal and Westbrook. They've got Bertans, who I just absolutely love. Don't sleep on any of these teams. They're all earlier starts. It's a East Coast road trip, so I'm looking forward to see what they come out with. I'm happy with the Suns being 6-2, despite talking ish on book a little bit here or there, 8 and here or there. Happy where we are. We're moving in the right direction, so it's all good, man. Love you, Phoenix Suns. Come catch us at the at Valley Podcast, at Suns Valley Podcast, at Coach Evan B on Twitter. I'm out for now.
Thanks, brother.
Love y'all. Peace.
So anyways, I'll leave you all with this. Go to sleep tonight knowing that your Suns are number 1 in the Western Conference. Wake up knowing that they're the number 1 team in the Western Conference. And you get to gloat about that. Sport your Suns shirts, wear your Suns hats, wear your Suns masks, and